Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome back. So, Android versus Apple. Or should we go Apple versus Android? Who cares? Anyways, this little guy, Android. This big guy, Apple. Anyways, so we're going to talk about these two platforms. And we're going to give you the good, the bad, and the nasty, nasty, ugly stuff. And we're going to start with Android because it's the funnest one to slam anyhow. So, why am I slamming them? For a very good reason. And stick around and you'll find out, and you'll learn lots if you haven't already. So, Android device has been around since the Stone Age, kind of like Apple iOS devices, been around forever. Now this doesn't matter if you've got phones or if you have tablets, okay, makes no difference, alright? So with the Android operating system, it has some drawbacks to it, obviously, right? One of the biggest drawbacks of Android on devices is over 99% of your devices out there running the Android operating system are incapable of updating past the operating system that comes with them. Now that doesn't mean you won't get a security update or two, or maybe three if you're lucky. This little guy only has had one in the last 3.5 years of its life. And it can't even upgrade to the next operating system, okay? Now, that could be because of lack of space on the internal memory for storage. That could be because it's just a crummy little machine. It could be a number of different things. However, it won't. Anyways, so as many of you know, I picked this up a couple days ago, got it for free, so I'm not complaining. I would have even paid for it, and I still would have slammed it like I'm about to today. And I'm going to slam every other Android device out there too while I'm at it, because I think it's due time. Now, Android devices are very inexpensive to buy. You can buy an Android tablet for as little as $50 Canadian, brand new, usually when they're on sale for that. And normally they sell for about $100, $129, right on up to around $1,300, $1,400 in some cases, could be even more, depending of course where you get them from, etc., the brand, the features that are in there, and so on. None of the devices I have seen thus far, even newer stuff, can still even hold a candle to even a 4 and 5-year-old Apple iPad as far as camera quality goes, picture reproduction, etc. Okay? Not to mention the programs that come with the things right from the factory. So when you do a factory restore, it puts a pile of programs in, and yeah, they're so extreme basics. Then you got to download stuff, pay for stuff that's decent to work. You might find something decent that's for free that might help enhance things a little tiny bit. But yeah, otherwise you're pay, right? Because anything that has advertising in it too, for apps, you're going to get a lot of things where parts of those apps are just non-functional because you have to pay, right? So, you know, but there are a lot of free apps nonetheless that work really well too, and that's fine. And that goes for both platforms. Neither one of them is a stranger to that stuff. So, when you do a system restore, you get all this junk. None of this is removable. Okay? Zip. The only two things you can remove from an Android is going to be the Facebook program and the Twitter program, which are factory recovered onto this device under Android 6. Now, I don't know exactly off the top of my brain what comes with the newer versions of Android 9 and 10. Okay, now this tablet was only released on the market in April of 2016. So it's not even 4 years old yet. It's about 3.5, a little bit, okay? So, you know, it's not a very old tablet, yet it's extremely obsolete. It's non-upgradable as far as the operating system goes. There's no more security updates for it. It is way out of date, so there is no security. If you are crazy enough to do your online banking or any kind of business transactions involving money, PayPal accounts, on something with a operating system that is way out of date, then you're bad for doing that. Okay? It's on you. So you need to keep things secure, including your identity. Because when things go obsolete, that's one of the first things hackers look for, are people that are running obsolete operating systems, because now there's no security. It's a lot easier to hack when they're not fully secured to the top. Anyways, I was going to say something else, but we got to keep this thing clean on this channel. Anyways, so, you know, 99% or more devices out there running Android operating system are non-upgradable other than the OS that they have. That's all you get. You might get a couple of updates, security updates, and that's it. And then when the next operating system comes out, you may have about a year left of your current one with the last security update, and then you're yanked, okay? Now, for something to go out of date this fast is insane. Now, this has probably been out of date for probably over 2 years plus now, okay? I only know how out of date it is now going against current Android operating systems. This has been out of date for quite some time, and there's no way to update it. So, you know, even putting because you have to have a Google account to get access to the Play Store to download stuff, do up a dummy email address like I did. This way, who cares, right? And that's a good way to do things, because that'll at least keep you fairly secure in that sense, because you're using fake stuff. So, but anyways, either way, don't be doing anything where you have to sign in with any kind of passwords other than a bogus one on your Play Store to get apps. Now, here's the other problem with these devices. So we know they're cheap to buy. We know they're very inferior compared to Apple. You know, and to get something comparable to an Apple, like you'd have to spend probably closer to about $700 or $800 to get something. As far as the camera, the cameras and the picture quality goes to go against an Apple, you would be going up against a 4-year Apple, a 4-year-old, maybe even a 6-year-old Apple iPad, which is worth in the neighborhood of about $100 right now for a used one. To about an $800 brand new with Android 9 on it, okay? That would be your comparable, and you're still not going to get the same awesome picture quality for reproduction or color palette than what the Apple comes with. Plus, also looking at the software that the Apple comes with, which we're going to take a look at in a few minutes, you know, you're not going to get that kind of bells and whistles and toys on Android ever, okay? So keep that in mind. These things may be cheap, but they're not the best solution. They're great for frisbees and they're great for target practice, is about what they're good for. But to each their own. Now, as far as programs go, I've got a program out here called Chord Pro, and it's a lyric program for musicians. Now, this particular one's a free download. But after 60 songs, you got to pay a subscription, and basically it's this, okay? And it'll scroll. You just hit the auto scroll button, and it scrolls your lyrics for you. Now, they had another version of this program too, which was called Guitar Tap Pro, which they've recently hauled off the Play Store within the last 6 months. One of my students was actually going to try Guitar Tap Pro because it's a lot easier for her to go through lyrics that way than continuing to burn a binder full of pages. We're just going to transfer her over. So she went and bought the program, and she put it on an Android device, which is a lot newer than this as far as the operating system goes, and it wouldn't run that program stable at all. Yet I ran that program on a Mac with iOS 12. It runs perfectly fine. iOS 13, we lost access to the scrolling feature. But anyways, that happens with updates. We have to deal with it and figure out ways around things. So, you can delete Facebook, you can delete Twitter, nothing else. Now, why do we have the ability to have external storage in this if all it's going to be good for is videos, music, and maybe the data from my Guitar Tap program, for example? It says that it does apps too, right? So I looked up on the internet. I says, how do I move my apps? Because I want to know how to do that. So I set it all up. It's supposed to be ready to go. It's formatted properly for the card to do all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. Not one of those apps will move to the SD card. None. Not even Guitar Tap Pro. So I'm like, that's kind of dumb. Why do I have external storage of an extra 16 gigs if I can't use it for what I need to free up internal space? See, this is an 8 gig tablet, and Android 6 Marshmallow chews up all the 8 gigs except for about 2.5 gigabytes. Okay, and that's after I've installed Guitar Tap and uninstalled Twitter and Facebook. I got 2.5 gigs of internal storage space free. Okay, And I'm like, this really sucks. I can't transfer it. Why? So I look it up. 3 links below. Alright? It says that unless the developer of the software specifically designs their software to be able to work with the Android OS to be able to not only shift it over to an SD card, but run the program without any glitches from an SD card, it cannot be transferred. And your transfer button will be ghosted or grayed. Well, I don't even get a transfer button, period, so I'm yanked either way. So none of the programs that come with the factory recovery, nor any programs that you put in, will be able to be transferred unless they are specifically written. And there's no way of knowing what programs are going to do that or not do that until you've downloaded them and tried to transfer them to the SD card. And this could be a problem because it could end up being that some of the programs that are going to be able to transfer, you don't even want anyways. So who knows, right? It's a bit of a, it's a pain. So I'm starting to see why people are hating 8 and 16 gig tablets for sure. You know, also on Android tablets, a lot of them, until you get a really good one, you're going to have a lot of ghosting going on when you're trying to do something. Now this has minor ghost effect. The exact same model of tablet, but in the 16 gig version, they must have changed something on the screen because it has major ghosting issues when you tilt the thing. So you have to have it in a specific spot to have just that really nice picture in front of your face. And that's where the big deception is, because when you hold up the picture at your face with all these icons and then you put it side by side to an apple, it's like, well, that looks beautiful, until you start changing the angle just a hair, and then everything gets washed out really bad. Now, I myself have personally, in all my years, have never come across an iPad that ghosted its screen. Okay, I haven't come across it, so I can't say if it happens or not. You would have to look into that yourself. But I know for sure my new iPad 7, the 7th generation, doesn't do any kind of ghosting whatsoever. And it is crystal clear, beautiful graphics, beautiful color palette, as I expect from any Apple product to be. Well, I hate using the word perfect, but yeah, perfect. It's beautiful. It's awesome picture quality. Now, we're also going to do some picture taking. The front camera on this boasts to be a 1.9 megapixel 720p, and the back is a 5 megapixel. Okay, and we're going to take some pictures. So, we're going to start with a selfie of me. Now, you guys can see from the camera with the present lighting, my color, my shirt, my skin, all that jazz, right? So we're going to point this the same way. Okay, that's my selfie. Now I'm going to swap the camera to the back. I'm going to take a picture of my buddy who's sitting on my keyboard. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to bring you over here to the computer. And we're going to plug the tablet in. First, let's get out of our camera program. Let's close that out. I will show you what the picture looks like on the tablet as well, but I want you to see this too. Now, you'll see this says Alcatel Pop 7 LTE. Okay, so why don't we get 2 drive icons? We're only getting the external SD card. So DCM, camera, so there's picture number 1. That is not a very good realistic reproduction of color palette. That is very washed out. Okay? Now, here's the other picture we took. 5 megapixel, bright lighting on him. That's Donald, of course. Sitting on my keyboard. Nah. You can see it's washed. It's really bad. To me. Okay. So we're going to keep the pictures on here. So let's fire up our program for our gallery. And get into this thing. Photos. Yes, allow. Oh, not you again. Done. No, don't sync. Done. Yes. I don't want to back stuff up. I don't need to. Getting photos. Alright. So, there's our first picture we took. And there's our buddy Donald. And this is what we can expect out of this screen. Alright. So, for a 1.9 megapixel camera on the front and 5 on the back, it's kind of so not very good. We're not even going to bother with video. And with the video, we only get one timestamp frame per second. We don't get to manipulate anything for like 30 or 60 frames. We don't get panoramic. We don't get time-lapse. We don't get slow-mo. None of those features are available in this particular unit. They may be available in a very expensive Android tablet, but they're not. Those features are likely not going to be available in any of the lower-end tablets. Okay. Very basic program too. I mean, we don't even have a flash on this other than the screen will flash on the front when you take a picture, but it's not a flash, it's just the screen itself. I don't know how it does it with the sensor, but whatever. Okay, so there's definitely some drawbacks here. We're only getting access to our external SD card, which is back in here where our cell card goes. Okay, so it's actually, this is our little micro SD 16 gigger. So if we take this out, I wonder if we'll now be able to mount the 8 gig side. There's a good question, isn't it? I'm kind of curious myself. It should force it. And it does, but it says the folder is empty. There you go. Okay, so there's Alcatel POP7 LTE. Okay, so it can't show us anything that's there. But can we put something on there? Cannot copy item. The device has either stopped responding or has been disconnected. It stopped responding because it can't do it. So, what if we take this card and put it back in? Now what happens? And keep in mind, we didn't unplug this either. We're probably going to have to. Yeah. Okay, so unplug, plug back in. SD card, look at that. So movies. So I'm going to copy all 4 of these in here. Well, that didn't take long. That was actually pretty quick for the copy routine. That was impressive. Okay, so now they should be actually on here with any luck. So we shall check and see. So we'll have to go through a movie player, I guess. See what we got. Life gets to be so much fun with this stuff. Play movies. Google Play. Get started. Watch now. It's not giving me access to my files that way. Gallery. Camera roll. Videos. Aha! My videos show up. Perfect. But I'm not going to play them because they're all YouTube videos. Anyways. So pull out the SD card, you're not doing nothing. It's pointless. So even if you have 128 gig, unless they've worked around that already, that's going to be a problem. So you kind of have external storages where you can put stuff, but your apps are going to be the biggest problem. Once you start running low on storage on your tablet, you're going to have to just delete stuff or back it up some other way somehow, but you have to have an external storage card, and your programs or apps have to be able to move to that. And not a whole lot of apps out there are going to move to an external storage or run from the external storage on the Android devices. That's a problem, okay? And that's, I don't know. Okay, so let's talk about Apple now. Good, bad, ugly, right? So, Apple devices, yes, can be costly, but you know what? You get what you pay for. If you want quality, you want performance, you want a beautiful picture, you want nice tight pixelation, proper coloration, and all that jibber jabber jam jam, you're going to go Apple. Okay, so let's do some pictures. We're going to do the same thing. So, let's take a picture of Donald. And front camera. Okay. So, get out of here. Photos. So, Donald is first. Now that's beauty. And our next one. That's also beauty. Okay, and notice we don't get ghosting either. That works. That's sweet. I like that. And that's, you know, very true representations. So, let's plug this into my computer. Let's see what they look like on the computer screen. Now there is also a night and day difference too between looking at pictures taken on an Apple device on a PC versus a actual Macintosh to Apple display because of resolution capabilities of the computer, pixelation, all that sort of jazz. Allow, yes. And let's fire this in. Apple iPad. Now of course we have all of our storage capability to us. Because of the fact that, you know, Apples don't use a extra thing that way. Now we can put external drives on these now and that sort of stuff, and basically use them like a regular computer. So we want Donald, and we want me. So there's Donald. That's actually pretty good. That's a really nice picture. Okay, and now me. That's also very nice. And see, if you want to compare, this actually looks really sweet. So, how does it look on a Mac though? There's a good question. A software update is required to connect to Kevin's iPad. Sure, we'll update it now, and we'll just chat for a minute then, I guess. Okay. So, well, that thing's doing its thing. Shouldn't take too long. You saw it for yourself, the difference, right? It's so much better on the iPad. Now, yes, iPads are more expensive, but I mean, the cheapest iPad you can get your hands on right now for a refurbished model anyways, which would be a unit that's a couple of years old, is about $230. But I mean, you can find, and that's brand new refurbished from Best Buy. You can get like an Apple 6th generation iPad for about $200 used. That's in like mint condition, maybe $250. And that's still going to be a unit that's been around for what, about a year, just over a year. I'm not exactly sure when the 6th gen was released, but I had 2 of them. Anyways, they will still be good for another 5 or 6 years worth of Apple iOS updates. Because here's the thing, Apple will take care of you. You're not just paying for a more expensive toy that also has a lot more with it, and it's more better, it's more faster than anything else out there. You are also getting support. You're getting OS security updates, you're getting mass updates for operating system updates to new operating systems. Okay, my iPad 7th gen that I got just this year, it came with 13. It's now up to 14.2. I had iOS 12 that came with my 6th gen, even new, and it's up to 14.2. Right, and it can still go for another 5 or 6 years yet before Apple will cut it off. Right, Apple gives you the longevity. Okay, so you're getting a quality product, quality build, quality picture, quality cameras, even in the same megapixel range between an Android tablet and an Apple iOS iPad. Even with the cameras being the same megapixel, the cameras in the Apple do a far superior job. Why? Because it takes more than just hardware. It takes software to work with that hardware, and it takes hardware to reproduce the picture, which means it also takes software to work along with that as well. Even before you manipulate stuff, it has to be able to present. It takes having a quality tight pixel screen with a really good resolution to it, etc., etc. Okay? So you're getting a quality built product in an Apple product, so you're going to pay more than you would for an Android, right? So it's kind of but I mean, this iPad brand new you can buy for $719, brand new, not refurbished. Whereas a comparable Android will come with Android 9, 8-core processor. I'm not sure the exact speed because I didn't list it on the website what the speed was, but 8 cores nonetheless, which is fine. I mean, this one, I can't remember. Anyways, I have to go look at the specs. I don't remember everything at the top of my head. So, but it would have, the Samsung is what I'm talking about. It has 3 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of storage, but it doesn't say if it has the extra storage of micro SD. It just says it has an SD card reader. It's like, which way is it? And that it can go to half a terabyte. So, okay, or not, yeah, 512, sorry, 512, yeah, half a terabyte, 512 gigs is the biggest card you can put in that one. So yeah, half a terabyte, which is fine, so yeah, you can put more storage in, but if the storage is useless, what's the point? I need to move apps. I need to move apps to other places. I need to move data to other places. I want to try and keep as much space free as I can if I'm going to run an Android. On my Apple, I got a 128 gig iPad. I've only used 20 gigs. I still have over 100 gigs, and I've got some pretty intense software in this thing compared to anything an Android would come with. Oh, this thing wants 20 minutes. Okay, you know what? I'm going to shut the camera off, and we'll come back after this thing's done. It wants another, 19 minutes to do this stupid update so I can use my iPad. I've never plugged my iPad into my iMac since I got it, so who would have known? But I'll be back instant for you guys. Okay, guys, that was a complete waste of 20 minutes of my life. I should have just airdropped it. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to airdrop this stuff. And let's see. Airdrop. And I'm going to have to go into my thingy. Turn that on. Back to here. Airdrop. And I gotta turn this on too. Bingo. Okay, so downloads. There we go. And turn that off. Alright, so we're going to show you what it looks like on a Mac. Let me just get this in as best as I can here. So we'll start with Donald. Now I think, to be fair on this, what we're going to do is side-by-side comparisons. And we want this one up. We're only going to be able to shrink that so far. So, let's see if we can do it this way. That'll work. Alright. Now, these were off the iMac. That was off the iMac. We've got to do the same thing for Android. Alright, so Donald, and change that around. Alright. This cable plugs in here. Now this is going to be to compare the Android to the Mac. So let me plug this in. PC, SD, DCM, camera. Okay. So we got Donald, and we got me. Okay, unplug that. Alright guys, so let's see how I can pull this off, hopefully. Now I'm going to zoom in here so you can see, you look at that one. Now that's the Android tablet. That's how it's showing stuff, okay? And that's the Mac off of the iPad. Now, let me get this thing as close up as I can for you guys. I'm going to take the camera off here. So that gives you a really good idea there. That's what our Android looks like. Front and back camera. Screensaver just kicked in. And that's our Mac. And that's off of the iPad, front and back cameras. Okay, let me mount this back up in the stand. Okay, so you guys have seen yourself firsthand what the pictures look like, both sides of the fence, okay? The Apple definitely wins out no matter what. Alright, I mean, it's impossible for it not to win over Android. Alright, even if I had a much better, more expensive Android here, I would need an Android tablet that is far more expensive than this, and this is $720. So I would basically need that Samsung 10-inch tablet, that's like on sale for $750 right now, regular $830, in order to have it as fair as possible to an Apple device. You know, and it's kind of like one of those things. Now, we were talking earlier too about what you can and can't do on Android for deleting built-in software and other stuff. Now, although you cannot move anything to an external card right now, we don't have one hooked up. Otherwise, I could copy a bunch of stuff off this thing to an external card. I could put photos and all that stuff on, music, whatever. I can transfer stuff. I can AirDrop between my Mac and my tablet, okay? So it was actually kind of pointless trying to plug my tablet into my Mac. I kind of forgot, hey, wait, I can just AirDrop this stuff. Anyway, so on an Apple device, if you push and hold long enough for a few seconds, come on, you get all the icons jiggling with X's on them. Everything with an X can be deleted. And that includes software that comes with your iPad as a factory restore, which is going to have less software, by the way, with it than when you got the iPad shipped to you brand new, because brand new they ship with GarageBand and iMovie and a bunch of other stuff on there already. When you do a factory restore, GarageBand is one thing that does not get put back in. It's a separate download, and so are a bunch of other programs as well, but other ones you will still get. But when you start looking at everything you can take out that's got an X on it that came with your iPad, FaceTime comes with it, Calendar comes with it, reminders, voice memos, photo booth, calculator, going into the lifestyle folder, iTunes, shortcuts, tips, Apple Store, Keynote, iTunes, numbers, clips. All these programs come with your iPad, okay? All can be deleted. The only things you cannot actually delete off of here is Safari, and there's a Messenger program. So these two cannot be deleted, okay? That's a no-no. Your App Store cannot be deleted. Settings cannot be deleted. Photos program and camera program cannot be deleted. Everything else can be deleted. Not a problem. If it's got a little X in the corner when it's jiggling, it can go. Okay? So, that's kind of cool that you can do that. So you can choose to get rid of a pile of junk that you don't even want, or you're never even going to use, which is another advantage Apple has. Not only that, Apple is going to support you for updates for several years without any issues on your iPad. Okay, you will get updates for your iOS, you'll get security updates, you will get program updates, not a problem. Okay, now do keep in mind too that some major OS updates may cause some programs not to function anymore, or you'll lose certain functionalities. But you can re-download a lot of those programs and they will work again because they will be reconfigured for the new iOS when you re-download them. Guitar Tap Pro unfortunately was not one of these programs. You could still fire it up and everything else would be fine, but you just don't have access to the scrolling feature. Okay? And for those of you who are musicians, I'm going to fire up Guitar Tap. Now this is the program we're talking about. This one is way better than Chord Pro because everything is free. You got to pay $4 for it, but everything's free. The problem is with iOS 13 and above, you don't get the scrolling feature, which I'm going to show you. So if we go to our favorites and we go to our songs, I have a song in here, and if I go and I try and tap on the timer to set the timer bar, it's green, so it should be scrolling, and it can't scroll. That's where our problem is. And I'm still going to leave it on here in hopes that maybe the next update might just fix the problem. I've talked to Apple about this. They can't figure out themselves what would have caused that to happen. But I told them I re-downloaded the program. I've ripped it out, re-downloaded it. It's still not going to happen. Okay, so that kind of really does suck. And but because it is such a great program, and the Chord Pro program is a totally different layout. You have very few different keys that you can now change between. Okay, you only get a few up and a few down for transposing. The other Guitar Tap, you could get boatloads. You could just go around and around and around till you get to where you need to be, right? You can't do that anymore with their new program. But their new program is free, but you only get 60 free files to import. After that, you got to pay for subscriptions to different internet servers, which you would be drawing from anyways, where they were free with the paid version of their program. And everybody is ticked about this, and this company doesn't even want to get back to any of us. You know, even I've emailed them more, and they still won't get back to me on why they won't update Guitar Tap Pro to work with the newer iOSs, because it is the more superior program out there. So, like, I don't know. Anyways, there are other programs you can use though too, but that was one of the best for what it did and what it's capable of doing that a lot of the others can't even do half the features. So, you know, there's more to it than just the scrolling feature that we're after here. There's other things. But we can do all the other stuff, we just can't scroll, which kind of sucks. You can't be playing on stage and then flipping manually as you're going through a song. It just doesn't go well. You got to stop playing to do that. So that kind of sucks. But anyway, so you're going to get the service and support out of Apple. You're going to get years of usage and updates. Getting repair parts is easy to do if you want to do it for yourself. Or you can pay somebody who's doing it out of their house, save a bunch of money that way too. Or go to an Apple dealer to get your Apple products repaired when something does happen to go wrong. But you can do it yourself. It's not that hard. You know, it's very easy, and there's a lot of tutorial videos on YouTube. I even have a tutorial up there on how to take apart this particular iMac to upgrade the hard drive in it when I put an SSD in it and got rid of the old clunker mechanical drive. I think I did a video too on the iPhone changing the battery. I'm not sure. But it was kind of a real scary proposition to go into the iPhone. It was a little bit more delicate of a screen. But I still did it, and you know what? I do it again and again and again. I don't really care. It doesn't bother me anymore. Done it once, you've done it a million times, basically. So, you want an Android device and have a life full of misery and having to spend a lot of money just to even try and get somewhat equivalent to this? And this is 719 new for this one. And this is the 7th gen. You can still get older iPads that are 3, 4, 5 years old on the market that are still taking iOS updates right up to the current 14.2, and they will go slightly beyond as well until Apple decides to cut them off, which won't be for a couple of years anyway. So you know what? You can save a pile of money. Even an old 6th generation iPad, well, they're not that old, but a 6th gen iPad right now is selling for about $250 for one in cherry condition. Okay, like cherry. You know, if you've got physical scratches or any nick pocks on the screen, well, you just lost a pile of money. Now you're down to about $100 to $150. You know, even though it doesn't stop functionality of the thing, it just looks stupid. Well, it looks gross anyways, but, you know, screen protectors, that's why I put glass on all mine. So when I do go to resell it, I get the maximum resale value because I also keep them in cases too. This way they stay cherry condition. So even 2 years from now, when I decide to upgrade this thing again, this thing will be in absolute perfect cherry condition, and I will be able to maximize my money back out of it. And that's another thing too. You lose value really fast on Android devices for resale value. You do not lose very easily on Apple devices. They retain their value very, very well. Okay, and even a few years down the line, you are going to get more money out of an Apple device than you will out of even a Windows computer versus a Mac. Okay, so same as your phones, same as your tablets, Apple holds their value. Okay, that's another thing to think about too. So when you're going to definitely upgrade, now you can sell your old device if it's in great shape, maximize your profit out of that for getting money back out, and spend less money in the end on your new device, because now you'll be able to get more out of the old one to put towards the new one and save yourself a lot of money too if you're going to do it that way as well. Anyways, that concludes this. There's not much else I can really tell you or show you, but there are dongle adapters you can get with SD card readers, among other devices you can do with these things. There's a lot of neat little features between the iPads now and the Big Sur operating system for doing some really cool stuff. Not to mention you can split screen this sucker into 2 screens, and some of the older, I think a couple of the older iPads you can do it too as well with 14.2. Keyboard and mouse support as well for Bluetooth. Easy peasy. And non-Bluetooth. Apple has their own keyboard for this tablet and a few other of their new tablets where it's just a little, and no syncing worried about, no Bluetooth needed other than the Bluetooth for your mouse. And then you can use this as like a small version of a laptop if you wanted to. My wife actually has the Apple keyboard for her 7th Gen iPad, and she loves it, and she can put a mouse on there too if she wants to, instead of, ding ding on the screen, right? Just use a mouse, so it makes your life simpler. Anyway, lots and lots of differences between Apple and Android. Lots of good points and bad points, of course, that have been brought across here. There's not much bad about Apple that you can really honestly say, other than if you're just an anti-Apple person, you can say you hate them. For years I hated PCs, and then, once I started to use them, and then I became a technician, and I have both. And I find that each one has its place in life, certainly. And of course, resale value. You lose your shirt on a PC all the time, but on Macs you're still going to retain the value quite a bit. You won't lose as much money on the resale. PCs you do. You really do. Which kind of really does suck, but that's the way the market goes, so there's nothing you can do about it. But otherwise, that's all I got for you. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and I'll do the best I can to answer them. If there are other tech videos that you want to see on the channel, let me know, and I will see what I can do about it. But I do have some stuff coming up in the next little while for some new products that are on their way here from a few different companies, and we'll see how that stuff goes for us. I love technology. It's cool stuff. And till then, see you in the next one. Ciao.